Are we live yet?
Oh
Are we
my
live? We're live.
God.
We're live.
Oh my God. Oh my God. If people knew the couple of minutes before we go live, like just the mayhem and the stuff that is happening
It's
behind the
just,
scenes.
it is just our lives. It is just our lives. It's just
I
the
don't think
way it is.
anyone, I don't think there's a single person that would have any faith in us, Jaimie, if they knew what happens just before we go live.
Do you think they have faith in us anyway?
No.
It's the show that nobody asked for, the only reason that we shower. If these ovaries could talk is live right now.
Oh, would you look at that?
That song.
Oh my
Would
God,
you
this
look at
episode, we have to tell everyone this. First of all, hello and welcome to If These
Hello.
Ovaries Could Talk
Hello.
Live. This episode is brought to you by our friends at California Cryobank. And oh, how we love them for helping us make content for
So much.
LGBTQ families.
Thank
I mean,
you
we
so
just
much.
do. There's
We really-
just,
many of our families love California Cryobank. Not gonna lie.
Right?
Many of them.
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
there's my sister.
Hi,
Okay.
Kim. Okay,
Oh.
we can get started now. Kim is here. Kim is in
My
the
sister
house.
is, yeah.
Oh my God, Kim, is your life as crazy as ours is? I don't know.
We are a mess right now, Jaimie. How we are just, I don't know if it's a 2022 Mercury retrograde. I don't know what it is, but we started off the season, the year, technical difficulties, hot, messy, and it is just continuing. It is not ending.
It's really a mess. 2022, my new phrase. Can I say this? I don't know if I can.
I don't know. Can you? I don't know what the phrase is.
2022.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Suck a dick. Can I say that?
I think you just said it.
It feels so dirty. It feels so.
How would you say
very,
How about you say S and
S&D.
D? It's a full moon.
It's a full moon. Maybe that's the issue. 2022 has been an S show.
How many babysitters have you gone through so far in 2022, Jaimie?
We're on our third. Well, it's not like we're going through them. Like, let's not make it seem like I'm like firing people left and right. Like,
it does feel a little bit like no more wire hangers. That's what it feels like.
Well, our nanny got a family, so she went because we weren't full time with her first. So she had been looking for a family.
She's so good.
She's my favorite person ever.
She's amazing.
Matches, I miss you. Matches, come back to us. We can't give you all the hours, but Matches.
She's like, no, thank you.
She's like, I can't guarantee that I can give you my time because I need to find a full-time family. I was like, yeah. Rebecca, yes, I need a babysitter. Well, yes, I need a really wonderful babysitter. So this is how it started. Last week, I had a dentist appointment, and before the live stream, I said, Jaimie, we need to make some content. I'll come over in between. And I'm in the dentist chair, and I get a text from Jaimie that's like, my babysitter just said, I'm not coming. He said, I'm not feeling well. Like I told you, I didn't know he wasn't feeling well. He never told me. And he's not coming. And I was just like in the dentist chair. And I was like, this is literally like 3 hours before the show.
Yeah. And I was like contemplating. I was like, do I offer to pick up her kids at school? I was like, what's the appropriate response here?
I don't know. I know.
Like,
that's what you're going to bring them here. And then
that's why I just kind of was like, and then I just like delete. Let me know.
Roast a piano. You gonna do that? You gonna do that?
No, I was not going to do that. So he's gone. Beat it.
Oh my God. So yeah. So we can't. That didn't work. And then we found. And then we. Contacted our old neighbor. She used to babysit for us, so she's doing today, but it's first time, and it's kind of complicated, and she never really got a trial run with me. Rebecca, where do you live?
She's in Hawaii, Jaimie.
I
don't think you're sending children, and also Rebecca's about to have a baby. This would make her not want to have babies.
Rebecca, you don't want these little terrors around you. But
because by the way, when they came home, they were all in a bad mood. And I was like, and Jaimie and I were having a cocktail celebrating our getting back together. And I was like, see you later. Bye.
Yeah, you got to leave.
I couldn't leave
Ryan
fast
came
enough.
in the worst mood ever. Yeah. So Anne had to take the day off, half the day off work to go pick up the kids so I could do this live stream. She was happy about that.
That is your commitment to our ovaries, Jaimie.
I am so committed to these ovaries. But so now we have
our new sitter, and she's doing it for the first time, and I'm nervous for her because it's it's a lot of walking in the city streets. It's a lot of like it's going to be interesting with a 4-year-old.
And I'm having like I don't know, we got like one kid who's just like, we are setting new boundaries around gaming, and that is not going well. I can say it because he's not home yet. And that is, I mean, there was a point where he told Mary, he like basically it was like some terrorist threats. He said something to the effect of like, just letting you know, I don't want to be mean to you. He was like, however, he said, my behavior, this is going to continue as long as you keep taking this away. And I was like, I said, there's a reason he said that to you and not me. Cause I would have been like,
that's when I rush so fast.
What did you say?
What?
You better
watch
the
what
back
you
of the neck.
say right now. You watch what you say.
Right now what you say. You better.
I have that. It's that. You better watch it. You better watch it. It's that. And for Rose, we have a language for this. The cockroach voice has come in. You better kill that cockroach right now. You better kill that cockroach. You better go in your room and kill that cockroach. And I'm like, everybody in the hall probably thinks we have so many roaches.
Like, why are they talking about roaches? There's going to be like a big exterminator movement in your building. It's just...
We'll be walking down the hall on the way to school, and she's in a mood like she always is. And I'm constantly in our hallway going, kill the cockroach right now, Rose. Kill the cockroach. You better kill.
I feel like there has to be better language. And then I've got the other one who's like just sort of like is able to get herself here and there. And yet, like, everything this week was someplace else with all these extras. So I was like constantly and like, one dentist appointment, and then the other one was like, well, I can't go, I have 3 tests. So then I had to have a dentist appointment the next day. As I was leaving the dentist the Monday, they were like, see you in 6 months. I said, oh no, I'll see you tomorrow with the other one. And then the orthodontist, and then I was just like, it has been going and going. And then it's just, none of it is going smoothly.
Nothing is smooth. We're also, both of you and I, we're going on vacation this weekend. We're still going to work. We're still going to do but we're trying to I have been working my butt off to try to get as much work as possible done so that I don't really have to do much when I'm on vacation with my family.
It would be nice to take a vacation. That would be nice.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's not going to be a full vacation for me. I'm still going to have to do some work, but I have been busting my butt to get it done.
I know.
I'm not there.
Oh my God. And there's a possibility I'm not even gonna say of like a acting thing that I would have to do from the vacation. And I'm like, all right, but I'll do it from the vacation. That means I've got to take special clothes and crap with me. Whatever.
Hawaii.
Life's hard.
Rebecca, you're right. Hawaii is calling. Cause I feel like you guys don't stress.
All right, Jaimie.
It's like whatever.
All right. I'm moving us along into, we are going to be talking today about our how we chose donor sperm.
Yeah.
But first, since we were talking about that, Jaimie.
Well, since we were talking about choosing sperm donors, that's where you're going. We have to talk about California Cryobank for a moment. You guys.
We do, because we both use them. And for me, I want to say about California Cryobank that it had a lot to do with their whole team of compassionate folks, genetic reproductive specialists, lab technicians, donor coordinators, fertility preservation coordinators, and client service consultants. The long and short of it is that I always felt very cared for by their staff.
Yeah, but it's not just about the staff, though. It's not, because California Cryobank, you guys, is the #1 recommended sperm bank by physicians. It is also #1 recommended by these here ovaries.
Yeah. I see what you did there, Jaimie. I see what you did there. And I do also want to mention that they partner with LGBTQ plus organizations to sponsor family building events nationwide. I mean, Jaimie, they won Family Equity's 2019 Corporate Impact Award for their contribution to helping LGBTQ plus families.
I feel like it's really safe to say that LGBTQ plus families are a huge California Cryobank demographic, don't you think?
I mean, I have to imagine.
Yeah, so it's nice to know that they are doing the good work out there for our community.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they are, though. They've also created a special discounted fertility preservation program for our transgender community friends, which provides the opportunity to have biological kids after transitioning. I mean, amazing.
I love that. This is why I'm so happy to offer this special California Cryobank code to our listeners.
I was going to do a drum roll. Folks, use the code OCT, and you are going to get a special free 90-day level 2 donor information subscription, which is a $145 value. And that allows you to see extended donor profiles, including childhood and adult photos, and access to digital donor keepsakes.
Yes. So if you're ready to start this search, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to Cryobank.
You could do it. You could do it, Jaimie. You could do it.
You're going to go to cryobank.com. You're going to open that free account, and you're going to use code OCT to activate your free level 2 subscription today.
Okay, people. Cryobank.com. Hit it.
Do it.
All right. Now, let's talk about our donor stories. Okay, hold on. We've got Rebecca in here.
Because you guys are all dying to hear Rebecca used Cryobank too.
Yeah, and she's just talking about it's a 10-hour short flight. Wait, Rebecca used Cryobank too. Look at that. And she's got a baby coming.
I know. Look, there's so many Cryobank babies. Wish you could help, Mom. I wish you could help too. You should be picking my kids up for me.
Oh my God. OCT. Okay.
OCT. Use that code, Katie.
So it's so funny. Like Jaimie and I were getting ourselves ready for this chat about it. And I was like, gosh, I almost don't remember some of the process. But then as we started to talk about it, she has a baby on the way. I was like, oh my God, I do remember like all of that conversation about, all right, it started off for me. And I don't know if it did for you. Started off for me with, am I a known donor, like a real life person or a bank? And
us too. Yeah.
And I was always just like, I don't want a real life person. I liked the upside of real life person because it was like, I could see what they look like as an adult, because at the time we weren't getting adult pictures. They've come so far in that, but I was like, I wanted to just be our family. For me, there was this real feeling of like, we can't make our family without help. And I just wanted that piece of that person. I wanted that gift from that person, but I didn't want them to be, I wanted our family to be me and Mary and our children. And I wanted that to be our immediate family. And I felt like the bank route was the cleanest, most legally protected. And you know how I feel about the legal protections. And it was the most like altogether just easy choice. I mean, that's where we started.
Well, for me, and Rebecca says she didn't get adult pictures. Not everybody gets adult pictures. For me, but some people do. Some donors do it.
Yeah, I guess it depends.
Yeah. For me, I always said, ever since I figured out I was gay, I always said, I'll use a friend. Last week, I just found out. Yeah, I always, open donor, and that's part of our story too. We're going to discuss, but I always said that I would
focus on your story, Jaimie. You got this.
I can't help it. I like to read what everybody says. I always said I would use a friend because I had so many gay male friends in my musical theater world, and I just figured we would just join up forces and make beautiful babies who can sing and dance. Why not? And then when I was first with Anne, I remember I was working on the cruise ship, and she had come to visit me, and we were talking about making families, and she was not on board with that. She was like, "No, I don't want anybody involved." So she was kind of where I was, yeah. And so that set me thinking and going back. And so then when we went to really start it, we started it with an anonymous donor, like with a sperm bank, and then we had such a hard time choosing our donor that we ended up having a conversation one night at a restaurant. All that time we used to go to restaurants and do all this fun stuff.
Remember when we used to be fun and be spontaneous before kids?
We had this conversation, and Anne was like, "You know what? We're doing all this work. What about your friend? What about this friend? Why don't we do that? Love this person. Let's ask." So she flip-flopped on me, and then we were going to do that, and then we decided not to. We decided to go with anonymous anyway because we didn't want to we didn't want to do all the legal, and we were afraid of what might happen. And so we decided to go anonymous.
You know what's interesting is we sort of did the opposite. We started there, and for like just a nanosecond, we considered, because Mary was telling all her gay boyfriends about, that we were going to go the bank route, and they were all offended. They were all like, "Well, take my sperm. I'll give you my sperm." And for a second we were like, should we? We were like, he's handsome. And then I was just like, no, I was like, I also don't want to know that much about the donor. Like I liked where it was. Like if my kids choose to figure that out later, great. But we did know we wanted it to be an open donor, which at the time there was, like things are trending that could change if like closed donors are available 10 years from now. But for now, there was the open donor route and the closed donor route. And we were like, we didn't want to take that choice away from our kids. So I was like, I don't want to know, but if they want to know.
we didn't think about that when we went to choose our donor. And the reason, I don't know who's calling me. And the reason I'm accepting 2 really important calls. Can you tell? Ooh, no such thing as closed donors.
That's
anymore,
true. Exactly.
Anymore.
That's what,
but when we were choosing, there really were, and we didn't, and the reason we didn't go with our friend was because this particular friend had a huge, really supportive and really involved family. And I remember that we had this conversation, like, well, do we let grandma and grandpa in? Like, is that like his parents and his siblings? And that kind of seemed daunting to us. Oh my God, my phone is going crazy. That kind of seemed daunting to us. And so we didn't do it then. Now, having talked to everybody we've talked to, I think we could have managed that. And I think it could have been a beautiful thing.
It might have been additive. But you wouldn't have the children that you have.
Yeah, and then we ended up getting a closed donor, our first donor, and we did 1 insemination.
Oh, right.
Yes, and then realized that
one of your friends is calling you, and it was in the live stream. This is Jaimie's world right now.
Wait, what? Who's calling me?
Your friend Rebecca just said, want me to stop calling you. Are you busy?
No, that's Rebecca. She's not calling. She's joking.
That is Rebecca. Oh, I'm sorry. And Justin is saying it doesn't work for everyone. We've done it with an acquaintance and it didn't work out. That's right.
That's
their story.
True,
their story is
check
for sure.
out their story, and that's but it has a happy ending. But so
25 years ago. Rebecca, I missed that. It was you. I was like, oh, your friend is calling you and watching the live stream. What a dummy.
She's not watching.
Wait. No, okay, wait.
Go ahead. I don't have to finish that part of the story.
I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm very circuitous. I'm going all over the place. And we did 1 insemination with the closed donor. And then we had a conversation with our friends who had used an anonymous donor, and we had our big realization, like, oh, snap. We didn't even think about the kids maybe having an opinion, which is terrible. And I agree.
Well, you didn't have
I wasn't
kids
in
yet.
that parent mindset yet. I hadn't thought these things. So then we switched donors, and that was hard.
Well, okay. So, all right, here's a question for both of us. All right. When the first time you started plugging things in and you started, like, how crazy was that for you? Like, for me, it was just like, I was like, okay. I was like, the first checking boxes, I was like, so I guess we're going with brown hair, like, to make it look like Mary, blue eyes, because we both have blue eyes. And then we were like, wow, it was so overwhelming. And I remember our first search came up, and there was this guy who was like half Nigerian, half like Scottish or something. And I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, okay. But then I was like, well, are we then adding in another factor for our child, like of differences of like, you're adding in another community? Is that fair? Is that? And we were like, and that first few searches, all those people that came up, Rebecca's saying it was like ordering off a menu at a restaurant. Exactly. Those first few searches, I found overwhelming. Yeah, I did.
Supersize that.
Yeah. I found them overwhelming at first, because I was just like, I remember that feeling of like, how do we? This is our in essence, our kid's father, like genetically. How do we make this decision? That's what I remember at first.
I found it exciting. I found it like, oh yeah. The first time I saw what a sperm bank website looked like, it was like, there was some reality show, and it was this lesbian couple who were starting the process. And so they shopped online on the show for sperm. And I was sitting next to Anne. I was like, oh my God, that's how it is. There's pictures, and you just choose it right there. And then, so that was the first time I had seen it. So then when it was our turn to do it, I was like excited to go see what the selection was, and browsing all the pictures. And I actually found it super, super exciting. It was fun.
Now, Rebecca was saying it was health screen for her first, and then open donors, and followed by health.
Wow. Mine was, ours was looks first.
Ours was open. And then health was second, and looks was a very close third. But I have like just riddled with alcoholism in my family. And I was like, we gotta just make sure that the health, that there's an addiction in the other side, for as much as we can.
Yeah, but who knows, if they're,
Yeah.
there's that whole
no.
aspect too. But I like how
But you are giving over control. You are relinquishing control when you go through this process.
Oh yeah, and it's scary. But I like how Rebecca says matching, so the baby would resemble both of us. That's what I was, not looks. It's not looks that we're looking for. We're looking to match.
No, I was looking for looks too. I wanted somebody really
that's
super handsome.
That's got to be a cute baby.
No, we would be reading the what was that thing? It was the staff impressions. And and I'd be looking for them, and like they'd be like, if they said something like, this person was hilarious and whatever, we were like, see, that was the equivalent of like, oh, he's got a good personality. But if they were like handsome, we were like, okay, put that in the yes. Like we were totally superficial. Initially.
We were a bit superficial too, not gonna lie. But okay, Rebecca.
How can you not be?
Donnelly,
you're making me jealous. I had to look through actual paper that my doctor gave to me back in the day, and then had to send money and order a full profile for the ones that we had interested.
Oh my God. That's like Judy Gold, same. Mm-hmm. And she told me to shut the fuck up because I was like, what?
She did. And I laughed really hard when she told you to shut the fuck up. She did it twice during the interview. And I was like, Judy Gold. Okay, so exhilarating. All right. So then the next step was getting more detailed information. And as we got more detailed information, of course, I'm sorry. In my family, the next step was a binder.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
Of course, I didn't buy a binder. I stole it from work. Then I had, like tabs by like ones. And then I had highlighted things. Now, this is just my first donor choice because we picked 3 times in total. So the first time, I was binder central, and it was just like, oh my God, it was so stressful.
Yeah.
And we picked the donor. And by the way, my clinic, I was like, oh, what about the CMV status? And they were kind of like, don't worry about it. Like
mine too.
And I was like, I feel like they take that differently now.
Yeah. We talked to a couple that was it you out?
Yeah, it was recently. It hasn't aired yet.
I was like, was it a conversation that you had with? I couldn't remember who.
It wasn't an interview. It wasn't an interview.
It was an interview, and they really were worried about the CMV status. And both you and I were like, we were both not matches actually to our donors, and too. But
so you didn't do binders. How did you keep?
No, you know what I did? Keep I made favorites. I only had a total of 5 favorites ever.
Really?
Yeah, I guess I'm picky.
I wanted to start wide, and then I narrowed it down. No, we started really wide, and then we started readjusting the ranking in the binder. Like the first people started going first.
I very quickly ruled people out. And I
know, but if you did that as soon as you went open only at this time, I think there's a much greater pool. I want to stress that. But at the time, that really narrowed things down quite a bit. As to availability
for us, a little bit. We had a good array.
Again, I'm talking 13 years ago at this point, but yes.
No, for me, it wasn't actually. All I did was heart them, and they stayed in my little favorites folder. And at night, I would say, "All right, here's the 5. Let's narrow this down," and then we'd eliminate one, and maybe I'd add one later. And it was, but we did think hard on it, and I remember us having serious conversations about the things that we were going to choose and looking deep into each one that was favorited. But I never had that many that I was looking at.
All right. So ultimately, what was the kind of thing because you just picked 1, right? 2. Okay. In both cases, ultimately, what was the kind of thing that pushed you over the edge to say, yes, this person, I'm going to make a baby. I'm making a baby with this person online.
The first guy, because we were looking for athleticism, because Anne is very athletic. And
I wanted artsy too.
We were looking for musicians, dancers too.
Which, by the way, I found very prevalent in California Cryobank. Now, I hope California Cryobank doesn't get mad at me like I was cheating on them. We were checking some other banks. We dated around a little. There was one other one that other people we knew had used, but it felt like they were very dry and all about the they wanted to show you how smart the people were. And I was like, I felt like there was a lot more artistic people in the CCB banks. That's what I found.
Well, there were a lot of artistic ones. And so the first donor we chose was a musician and didn't do a lot of sports. And I don't remember why we ended up choosing him. He had green eyes. That wasn't even what we were looking for. We were looking for blue eyes. I think in the end, his face looked so sweet.
Oh, that's what pushed you over the edge?
And he had a guitar in his hands.
Well, I'll tell you what pushed me over the edge to say, oh, go ahead, finish. Go ahead,
the second guy, what pushed us over the edge, we loved everything about him. What pushed us over, and he was athletic. He didn't have any musician. Was his the story he wrote.
That pushed interesting.
Us over the edge. It's the sweetest story, and we read it to Rose.
Some things that pushed me over the edge to not choose someone. There was one guy that we were really like, this guy, like we were like, this is our guy. And just like, because we really approached it like dating at some points. Like we wanted to like love the person.
Yeah.
And in the beginning. And then it was like I got the audio of this one guy and he seemed so great. And then it just seemed like in the audio, like he just seemed like the kind of guy who just like sat in the basement and smoked bongs with his friends. And I was like, that's not our guy. As soon as we got the audio, I was like, we both were like, nope. And there was another guy who was really high on our list. And then somewhere in the middle, they introduced that celebrity lookalike. Because it didn't exist when we first started. Oh. And they told us the celebrity was Chris Martin from Coldplay. And we were both like, but because like at first the staff impressions, they were like falling all over themselves over how handsome he was. And we were like sparkling blue eyes and we were like, yes. And then, oh, he said that all right. And then we were like, no. And so, and then it ended to be about health, I think was what pushed our initial donor over. But I will say this, then we bought 6 vials for this guy and we went and did one IUI. I got pregnant. And we were like, we're going to have all this left over. And then I had a miscarriage. And then we did 2 more IUIs and it didn't happen. And I was all like, oh my God. And then I was like, okay, we're out of business because our bank did 2 inseminations per IUI. Yeah. So our clinic. Thank you. So we had gone through 6 vials. I called and the guy was done. And we were like heartbroken. We were like, oh my God.
Retired.
So he was out of business. And so then then we chose the second one and I got pregnant and it was easier this time. Less printouts in the binder. It was like, okay, we did it in about a week. It was like much less like the first time we had the binder and we were showing people and what do you think of this? And it was the second one we were like, yeah, I think that's our guy. We sat with it for a couple of days and then we were like, okay. And got pregnant the first time. That was Maxine. And then everybody's heard the story of how I moved like heaven and earth to try to use the same donor. My Machu Picchu trip or whatever, that trip, Peru trip, wherever I did all that jazz.
I think Brazil. You went to Brazil.
No, not Brazil.
Colombia. You went to Colombia.
Thank you. I have also been to Machu Picchu. Thank you. I love how you were wrong too. And you're like, you're welcome. So then the third time, what was so interesting is after like getting sperm from people and just realizing, okay, our donors tapped out. Like I didn't know you could bring them out of retirement at that time. So we picked a third donor, which again, I got pregnant the very first time with Henry, but like the picking this time, the third time was like, we opened it up, clicked, looked at the medical, saw baby pictures, saw all the things that we chose within an hour.
Because you just knew what you wanted. You just knew what you wanted at that point. You had honed this down. You knew where to look.
But also I think that because we already had another kid, I think it became more clear.
You were tired AF. You were just like,
I was tired. But also I think, meaning like we realized that the parenting was the most important to us. Now, I know that there's donor conceived people who feel differently, but like this for us, it was just like, we just need this help. And like, let's not be insane about it. And we still got 2 great kids. Once I was insane and once I was less insane. And,
Yeah. I mean, for us, we got to use the same donor, but everybody knows that I brought him out of retirement because of my long, crazy bout of infertility. We moved heaven and earth to bring him back and we got him in the end. And so my kids have the same donor, but I don't know how important that is in the end. Yeah. It felt very important at the time. And maybe it will be important to my children. when they grow up. I don't know. But they have that connection now. But you know what our donor lookalike was? I've told you. Zach from Saved by the Bell.
Oh, that's right.
Actually,
I love that.
my kids kind of look like Zach.
It's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Look like Zach.
I mean, I feel like your one kid looks just like you. Yeah.
Zach. Oh my God.
Oh my God. You know, it's so funny because one of the things that doing the podcast, all these themes came up, and it was, you know, there was a huge section of our book about the themes that came up, but like the LGBTQ drafting was huge when we talked about about donor choice, because like both you and I went to our group of friends and said, where did you go? I mean, it's like, and then that's where I went. That's where I started looking.
Same.
And
that's why we went to this. Like it's extended. That's why you and I went to the same bank, because we're in the same group of friends.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. We never talked about it together, but we went to the same place.
Yeah.
I think that's,
you know, and also the search for Superman thing was so prevalent in our early conversations of just in that beginning. I think of the process, it can be really, I think when given so much choice, like it's easy to start to be like, oh, well, I could weed out. I was like, I could weed out weight issues. I could weed out my hereditary this, and then we got crazy.
Yeah. We got crazy. And then it's like, oh no, he's never played an instrument. Oh no. You know, like it's ridiculous.
Donnelly said we didn't have a choice. We had to use who the doctor worked with.
Things have changed.
Yeah.
Things have come a ways.
Even since we've had our kids, it feels like there has just been leaps and bounds in the industry. But I mean, it's so interesting having been through the process, you know, just what comes up.
Yeah. So those are our stories. We're so glad to have shared them with you.
We sure are.
Drop them in the comments if you want to ask more questions, although I highly doubt you want to know any more about
nobody wants anything else to hear from us.
All we do is talk about ourselves anyway.
That's true.
Well, we talk to other people about them too, but that's what we do.
But we do want to say, in all seriousness, a huge, heartfelt thank you to California Cryobank. One, for helping us, big thanks for helping us make our families, but also, you know, just for helping us bring this content and sharing about how our LGBTQ families are made and what the process is like, because it's just, we just get emails every single week from people talking about how important it is that they hear their stories and how alone they feel. And we just are thankful to you for helping us make this content.
And how important it is that we do have access to sperm donors and egg donors. It is.
And all that they have done in terms of like, I'm not sure. I don't know what that is.
I wouldn't put that up.
That's in another language. It's probably something.
Happy birthday, Anne. It's my wife's birthday. Send some love.
When did you guys start sharing stories with your children?
Okay. Right away. Like we've talked about it a lot. Rob and I both had the same book. When there's a new book, go back and watch last week's live stream. There's a new book. I still have to create mine. I love it. But we bought a book and I started reading that book.
From the Donor Conception Network. It's out of the UK. And
right away. And so it was just a part, same as Robin, right?
But also the person we interviewed last week was Sensitive Matters, and you can design your own book. But we both use the book as a flagship, like to work around to have the conversation. And for me, we started when my daughter started saying things about, you know, like, where's my dad? That's my daddy. And like, that's when we were like, oh, we better get on it. Like, I think I would have started later, but the kids led the conversation. And I think that's really interesting. And then we started at a base level, and then we just kept adding on to the conversation.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I guess Rose was about 3, because that's when we started doing this, and that's when you told me about that book.
For your second kid, it's always because they're in the house. But the first kid is like, you know, I think you can implement books that show diversity in families and makeup and all of that right away. But you know, there's not going to be a lot of understanding until they see other families that look different than your family.
You know what's so cute? Last night I was reading to Orion before bed, and he chose to read the donor book, the Donor Conception Network book. And he was like, oh, I want to read that book. That's the book Rose made, because it's child's.
Oh,
and he thinks Rose made the book. And so there's pictures in there of people, and he's like, that doesn't look like you. Who's that?
Why did they say mom? That's amazing.
but
That is amazing.
He thinks Rose made the book, so I need to get one for both. That includes, now we have 2 kids.
Well, I will say this, Jaimie, it has been delightful sort of looking back on the process, because it's like, my kids are almost 13 and 11 at this point, and it's nice. I have such fond memories of this time, of like just all of that angst and thought and joy and happiness that went into just clicking a screen to choose someone who's going to help us make our family. Just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, amazing. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, California Cryobank. It's been lovely. Now we have to get back to our crappy lives, Jaimie. And I am
so busy. So busy. I gotta go. I have to see who just called me because I think it's important.
Jaimie has to take some calls. All right, eggs.
Ovaries.
All right, bye everyone.